That's okay.
But here we
I
are.
was expecting it, John.
So edition 3 is upon us, everybody. Hello, anyone who's watching, which is obviously 2 people again. So hi.
Hi, George's mum. Hi, George's mum.
My mum wouldn't. She wouldn't watch.
The second one is just him streaming it on his other so tablet or something.
I've got like 3 devices in front of me, all signed into different accounts.
Are you writing in questions as well?
Yeah, so it looks like different people are watching, so it's all good. We're trying to this popularity thing.
You're trying algorithms.
Yeah, but you know, 80 plus views on YouTube now. So,
yeah, it's not bad.
Wow, 80 accounts, George. Good time to
That's what he's been doing with all this time.
I know, and I've had a lot of time to do it. Let's be honest. Yeah. So it's good. So I talked about a theme for our background, which was where you'd like to get married. We'll start with you, Simon. What is that?
It's the mountain it's the fires of Mordor.
Mount Doom.
Mount Doom.
Mount Doom. Oh,
it looks like a warm place. They bring a family and they secure your love. And also it comes with a free Mordor bottle shaker.
Oh, it's magical because you could see
magic.
Yeah, it is.
You can see through it. Incredible.
Yeah, they'll be going on eBay next week for £4,000, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, Jack, what have you got there?
So this is if you watch the US office, you'll see that this is the background to that show because, as I was saying to George earlier, it's the only image I have from when my flatmate told me that Zoom had this feature. So I obviously thought about this a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
and this is where it is.
I mean, I definitely thought about it a lot, and I've got Old Trafford, you know, the theatre of.
But this is why you selected. Oh, do you know what? We'll do a funny one next week where we get married because I've got Old Trafford. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, but it's genuine, you know. Sally, you know,
it's genuine.
She can't wait, you know. she's desperate for marriage. So what we'd have to do though, we'd have to like get a helicopter, pick up a church. Land it in the middle, or my mum would stab me. So
well, then you're not really in Old Trafford then, because no one would see it.
True.
But the pictures outside. Think about the pictures outside.
Surely, George, if you just sprinkle holy water on the grass, it's the same.
Well, I get a priest, but I really wanted Sir Alex Ferguson to be the guy who, you know, was the minister.
Yeah.
Have you wrote to him?
Yeah.
Few times, yeah. I got a pretty aggressive letter back the other day. So anyway, guys. We want to keep this podcast a little shorter. Not that we don't love having you guys on, but it's we rambled last week, and I feel like I rambled last week. So let's keep it short and sweet. Welcome to Jack. Jack is a previous colleague and friend of ours.
Previous friend. Previous colleague and friend. Right, that's why I'm second or third on this podcast.
Did you not see the separation? Previous colleague. Stop. And friend, not previous colleague and friend.
I mean, there's a lot wrong with it, even including the grammar, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine.
So, how are you finding isolation, Jack? What's going on?
It's not that bad, is it? Really, in the grand scheme of things, it could be a lot worse. In a flat with Wi-Fi, I mean, can have to be on a podcast for you too. It's not that bad, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's, you know, this is gonna like
apart from the host.
Yeah.
I mean, it's luckily he's incredibly good at nothing. But apart from that, you know, it's just all good. Jack, could you give the guys? I mean, many of our clients know you, but the guys who I know from Stanza Fitness don't. So if you could give yourself a little intro. A little bit about your past in the fitness industry and what you're doing right now, if you don't mind.
So my past was more in sport performance and traditional sort of strength and conditioning background, where I did internships. So whilst I was studying at uni, did internships at the uni with the S&C coach there, and a bit predominantly in football. So a bit at Bournemouth and Southampton's where I did my placement year. And then first job out of uni was in S&C. That was at a school. And then sort of the transfer into more working with general public work came kind of in between that. So after my time at school, I went to Geneva to work for Hintzer Performance and did still some athlete stuff there, but that's where I had a taste of more sort of holistic side of training, thinking about nutrition, all the other sides that go with it. And so that translated into general population work. And then after that was with you guys back home, so towards Bath. That was my first taste of sort of personal training. So definitely just general public. At the beginning, I was like, I'm just going to do this for a little bit, just get a job, and then move on and be able to get out from being back home. But now this is what I do. Actually enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to. At the beginning, it was like, I'm going to do this for a couple of months and then get out. But it's actually where I enjoy doing all my work. So now I'm in London. We have 2 facilities in central London, so one in Soho and one in Fitzrovia, just off Oxford Street. So that's where I'm spending my time now.
Going well?
Yeah, going very well. Yeah, both nearly pretty much at full capacity actually, before obviously all of this. So before that, the idea was to open a 3rd site early next year. So yeah, it's going really well.
Brilliant. And tell us a little bit about the place, Jack. How's it structured? Is it a private facility? Is it just personal training? Is there members? How does it work?
Exactly that. So we have 2 sites. So the one I coach out of is Soho Fitness Lab. They're both PT studios. And the other one is actually under a different business name. So it's under a name called Grow. That was before I started there. That was the previous decision. But the plan was in October this year to merge the 2. So it's going to be called Fitness Lab, and then each location will dictate its name. So Fitness Lab Soho, Fitness Lab Fitzrovia. But yeah, completely private personal training. So just a studio. There's about 3 people. So it's about 1,000 square foot in total. That includes gym floor and change rooms and everything.
Cool.
Hold on,
is that 1,000 square foot including change rooms as well?
Yes, yeah. So the actual gym floor, so the one I work in, and we kind of divide it up into pods. So you have a pod, call it pod system. So you've got 3 sections on the gym floor. So one has a squat rack, and there's a cable machine that kind of separates 2 pods, and you can use it both sides, dumbbells. So in terms of equipment and everything, machines, it's not where we were before, where you could literally use any machine you wanted. So it's good in a way that it challenges your programming a little bit, but it's way more personal in that you have your own space where you train. It's literally just myself and the client.
I've seen that. I don't know if you've ever. I think it's W10 Fitness, which obviously would be West London somewhere. But I think they went. They used to have an open gym plan for PTs, and then they went to a similar pod system using racks. So the rack either side, and in the center dumbbells, and then you would just go in PT in that sort of section, and you have everything you need there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect.
I think the only thing that we share is on the main cable machine is that pull down. But the times it clashes, it's very rare. So it's just, and it's weird. Like when I first started, it was like, well, I wonder how this works. Like, do you feel the presence of the other people? Like, are you aware of them? When you're coaching in it, like, you forget they're there.
That's amazing, because in all our gyms, you're down to, especially where we all used to work, it would be, you got 2 racks that you would share with 5-6 people at one time, and there's people on, people off, and it cuts the session out a little bit from being that personal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That sounds awesome, Jack. So if you guys who are watching, if you're watching later, just check out the gym that Jack's talking about, his gym. So just remind us of the name, Jack. If there's an Instagram page, what's it called?
So because we're in the process of merging the 2, the Instagram for the one I coach out is actually now changed to Fitness Lab. So if you put that in on Facebook, that will come up. But then we're doing the website for the whole changeover now. But if you Google Soho Fitness Lab or Grow Fitness, they'll both come up.
Cool. So any of my associates in London, family, friends, check it out, guys. On that, guys, I just want to ask you, Jack, with your clients, what are you doing for them right now that we're in isolation? Are you in contact with them? Are you training anyone? How's it work?
Yeah, so I train a few people remotely through FaceTime. I think similar to what you guys have been doing, and I think what most people are doing actually. And it works quite well. I was a bit unsure at the beginning, but I was listening to the other podcast the other day. Like, honestly, I find I have less time. It feels like the time flies by, and it's like 10:02 already. And like, oh crap, we've got so much more to do. So yeah, it works really well. We've been able to transport some equipment to different clients from the gym. So the other day we were wheelbarrowing a rowing machine across Soho, which was quite funny. So we've been able to manage stuff, and then even if they don't, you can do so much now. You can use anything. But in terms of what we're doing, it obviously depends on the person. That's always the answer, isn't it? But just trying to, like, obviously you can't maintain the same goals you might have had in the gym. You might have to adapt them slightly. But the focus for most of my people has actually been away from training and has been on sleep for me. Because I don't know what you find with clients, half the time sleep is probably the biggest challenge that most people undervalue. And so now, especially with how busy clients normally are with work, with client dinners and everything after work and everything like that, staying up till like 11, 12 at night still working, then getting up at 6 to come see me in the morning. Now's the perfect time for that, because they're not going to be having client dinners, they're not out. So yes, we still train, but if we can nail sleep during this period, get a routine in place, get the 8 hours, and then have them realize, Christ, this is how I should feel. That's a game changer for when we go back to actually training in the studio.
I always find that you get, it's that classic thing when you change nutrition, you change training, you change somebody's like lifestyle, if you like, and they realize then how shit that they felt before, because you don't understand how shit you feel if you feel shit all the time, because that becomes normal, and then they start to feel good, and then you often hear them, they're like, oh, I had a drink last night, and then it just set me back 2 or 3 days. I feel terrible now. And you're like, that's how you felt all the time. You just normalized that. You didn't feel any different. It's just now you know what good feels like. That feeling bad is so bad.
Exactly. So like 60% becomes the new 100% for them. And then they have no idea.
No, I found I've slept better myself, Jack, in this time, just because.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just feel like because I'm exactly what you said. I'm not thinking about, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to get up at 4, I've got to go, I've got all this stuff to do. I found I was just like, I spoke to Si about it, just waking up at 3, looking at my alarm clock, at 4, looking at my alarm clock, and now that's gone, and it's just amazing.
Right.
Go on, Si, sorry, I interrupted you there.
I was just going to say, what tactics are you implementing now for people to improve their sleep patterns?
So the main thing is setting up a routine. So if you think about when you're a baby, you have a routine. When you're a child, you have a routine for bed. You have your bath, you have your bedtime story, you go to bed. Whereas there's a point where that just stops, doesn't it? You can't remember when it was, but that stops. But incorporate, obviously not incorporating the exact same routine. Maybe some people might like that, bring up their mum and have.
Is that what you're doing on Zoom? You're calling them and being like, "Time for your story, Mrs.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, setting up some sort of routine. I mean, ideally, you get people spending 90 minutes before they actually go to bed with no screens, doing that. But you have to be realistic about these things. So setting up some sort of, even if it's 10 minutes, where you do 3 types of stretches, something where you breathe, you read a book, whatever it is that takes your head out of the real world and be able to switch off from everything before going to sleep. So something like that, try and incorporate something like that. And the same as when you're trying to change any sort of habit or build any sort of routine, you start small. Add one thing in at a time. You can't suddenly have a whole complicated, like I said, 90-minute routine when you've never done anything before. It's not going to work like that. So that's sort of the first steps, to build some sort of routine, and just making sure they have a set bedtime and a set wake up time.
That's brilliant.
Body loves routine. Have that, then you're fine, and it will get into the rhythm of that.
It's what we all do, right? It's what we all do, isn't it? Pretty much. So it's without really realizing it.
Having that sort of like set bedtime though is something I think that's so underrated, because people as adults, and obviously when you're talking about being kids, you just, here's your bedtime, you go to bed, you have to do it, and so on. And as adults, you just think, I'll stay up an extra hour. I'll catch hour back later on. I'll do something else. I'll sleep a bit longer on Saturday. And you notice then that all the time that you have free is spent trying to catch up on sleep and all the time you're awake, you're constantly fatigued. But that set bedtime is, for me, that's brilliant.
Yeah, 100%.
Jack, I was gonna talk to you about your strength and conditioning past, and obviously you deal with the general population now, as you said. If someone from the general population came in and asked for some strength goals rather than the typical one I see, which is fat loss, how would you program that? Just, I know it all depends on the individual in front of you, but just like a general, give us a general idea of what you would do and how that would differ between someone who is an athlete.
As you say, obviously it depends on the individual person, how they're made up and what they need to work on specifically. But for just general sort of advice in terms of someone that wants to get stronger in the gym, sort of to be able to answer that question, the main things you want to focus on is build a solid base that you can build up from. So don't try and jump in and Google fancy set strength programs like a Smolov program. You're going to be fucked if you could swear on this podcast.
It's too late now, son.
It's happened now. So.
Too late now, man.
So yeah, there's no one really needs that unless you're seriously high end and been doing it for years. Like, you don't need it. So you don't need any fancy specific program, anything like that. The main things you want to tick off are just the fundamental movement patterns. If you have 1 session a week to 3 sessions a week, as long as you hit certain movements within those movement patterns. So if you have a squat, you have a hinge, you have a push, you have a pull, you have a lunge, a brace, and a carry. You're ticking all the boxes you really need, and then you can build from there. Once you nail those movements, and I'm talking about if you can nail an air squat and nail a simple reverse lunge, from there, most exercises are built on top of those. They're like the foundation. You nail all of those and get incredibly good and really strong in those, then you can start to add the layers with different types of work on top of that. So general advice, that's what I would go for.
And you'd operate the same with say an athlete, someone who's working towards I don't know, someone who's a footballer, for example. You structure it in a similar way, just a little bit more advanced, or?
It depends on the level they're coming in at. So especially with sport, obviously there's so many factors that come into it. So position, what they've done previously, injury history, all the similar things that would still happen with general population. So if you think about an athlete's job, whether it's a goalkeeper, whether it's prop forward or whatever you want, you can apply the same sort of principles from that to general population. What's their job? So many factors come involved in that. But as a general rule, if you have all those fundamental movement patterns within your training throughout the week, you're in a good place. And then in terms of strength training, obviously you'd make it much more sport specific for an athlete, that's such a broad statement.
Yeah, that's like games and seasons and time.
Yeah, there's so much comes into that. It's hard to give obviously a specific answer, but
So I think
going back to just what Jack was saying there before, when he's on about designing a program, what he's saying to me is just that it's start with the basics and start with the simple, but like the simple's the stuff that you need. Too many people, and I'm sure everybody's seen now online, that you get like a snapshot of an athlete or let's say a influencer doing an exercise saying this is great for your glutes or great for your quads, and then all of a sudden somebody thinks that that's the only exercise they ever did ever. Exactly. And they want to get up that food chain, and really you just need to nail, because like you said, a squat, how many exercises come off a squat, how many exercises come off an RDL, a deadlift, all those types of movements where you're just nailing core positions. And how can you expect to do all the advanced exercise if you can't even nail the basic position? Which I know you use, Jack, George, you use all the fundamental exercises. I still use them, and I'm still trying to get better at them.
Yeah.
No, completely right. It's like the analogy with a mechanic where you get the bill back and it took the guy 10 minutes to do the job, and you're like, how have I been charged a couple £100 for him to do 10 minutes? And it's like, well, the work didn't take me 10 minutes. It's 10 years of being able to do it that made me able to do it in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So this is the same sort of thing with your Instagram idea, and that, like you see some Olympic weightlifter smashing out with some ridiculous complex with 200 kilograms and really chucking it around, and it's like, oh, I can go do that. It's like, no, you can't even squat without your shoes on, so stop.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Simon, you look like, to be honest, right now, with Mount Doom behind you, you're kind of disappearing into it. So it's like you're actually Lord Sauron himself without his ring.
Oh, no.
You're kind
so
of like,
I've got this eyeball here is like kind of half fire.
Goes in and out.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's like it becomes you. Magic takes over you. You have no choice.
I was going to, Jack, I don't know if you watched the last podcast, but a lot of the time was spent mocking my hair. Okay, so I'm going to bring it up again. Okay, just. To be honest,
it disappears in the shadow of the head. I didn't want to bring it up. I was like, oh no, it's all gone.
So all forehead.
I'm going to bring this up. Simon, you brought this on yourself, by the way, just so you know. And I feel like this is going to annoy you more than anyone, because I have a hairdresser at home who could cut my hair literally when I want.
But doesn't.
But
Which one?
My Isla, the oldest one.
Which hair?
Yeah, that's one thing.
I was trying to brush over that.
Be careful. Careful.
Anyway, I've decided to grow my hair while we're in isolation. So,
by doing what?
When did you start?
I've just started. Literally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go Jack's Teller in Sons of Anarchy all the way streaked back. And do you know what? I'm going to do? And I don't think anyone's done this before. The bits that I'm losing, I'm going to comb the hair. That's
what are you going to call that?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's done that before. I don't know.
No, you should have a name for it.
You know them guys that walk around the streets, and you're like, what? Like, just come on, man, just cut it. Like, is that what we're going to end up saying to you? Where like your fringe slick back starts at the middle of your head.
Yeah, but I'll be in isolation, so it's not like it's going to be. Once I'm out, I'll be once we're all liberated from this, then I'm just going to go back to bold again.
Right.
I'm going to try.
You know,
it's not that bad. It's not.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Sure, anyway, keep it positive.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to keep people. So, Jack, I was going to ask you. You gave us a pretty good tip, I think, to try and keeping on track generally, which was to start to establish a routine day to day for anyone. So could you give me any other tips on how to keep motivated to exercise and stick onto your goals, if you have any?
Yeah, so now the focus, your focus has to change in terms of your training, because that would depend massively on what you have available to you. So if you've got any equipment, if you can go outside, if you live in an apartment building, like especially around here, with luckily we're on the ground floor and we've got quite a good courtyard, but then there are other people that are going to be like 8th floor of an apartment building, so just popping outside isn't as easy to do. So you got to work with what you've got and set a realistic target based off that. So don't give yourself a ridiculous target to come out of this with like 2% body fat or something silly. You just got to work with what you've got, and then also set 1 or 2 goals. Like half the time, even when we're not in isolation situation like this, people set 10 goals, 11 goals, trying to tick off all these boxes, where that's fine, but then all your focus is spread across 10 different points, and then it's hard to just have one focus. So have one focus for your training now, whether that is stuff that you like, oh, I should work on that, but you never have the time when we're not in isolation. I'm bad with that. Oh, I don't have the time, whereas now I have the time, so I'm able to work on stuff. But I think it should be a good message that I've tried to get across to clients, people I speak to, is work on something now. So work on one thing that in the future you're going to be benefiting from. So say, oh, I've always struggled with squats because my ankle mobility. Right, ankle mobility, smash it, because then in 6 weeks or whatever time, you're going to be able to come out of this and benefit from this time. So yeah, you may not do loads of exercise, but if you smash your ankle mobility now so that you can benefit from it later, I think that's the main focus you should have, and work on something like that. Because I think even when we're not in isolation, people have quite a short-term view on their training. So they think, oh, if I miss this session, it's like, oh no, it's a disaster. Or if I miss a week of training, it's all going to be gone. It's all like pointless. Like, no, you're going to be fine. One hot day doesn't make a summer. You're going to be absolutely fine with maybe not lifting a weight for 6 weeks. But yeah, if you smash all your different movement patterns and work on something else that will then benefit you with your strength training later. Say you don't lift a dumbbell for 6 weeks, but you do lots of aerobic work that's going to help your recovery, which in turn will help your recovery from your strength training later down the line. You're in a better place to come out of it. So yeah, it's not directly related to any strength goals you had before, but it is, because it's going to help it in the long term.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've done this with a lot of my clients as well, Jack. Which obviously, as you know, we see a lot of people who have come to us with back issues, but also have goals that are not back health related. And a lot of them I've said, look, we've got limited equipment, we've got but plenty of time. Let's make the most out of that time and try and get your core strong, your back in a good place. So exactly mirroring what you said, really. When we get back into a gym environment, when we have the equipment that we'll have access to, you're in a better place to do these bigger compound movements and build more
100%.
strength. So yeah, I think is a good bit of advice. Simon, would you agree?
Oh no, absolutely, definitely. Especially when he goes back to the point of saying just pick one goal. That goal could be a million different things in my mind, just because some people are really going to struggle with doing any form of exercise because they rely on the likes of us three here in order to motivate them. Hence why the virtual sessions are helping. But just it could be I'm going to train 3 times a week, or I'm going to try and make sure that I do X amount of sessions or anything. I focusing on one specific, because how many times have you done an assessment of somebody and they're like, yeah, I want to get fit, I want to tone up, I want to run this here, I want to get my legs stronger, and you're like, whoa, let's rein it back in. And if you delve into the nitty gritty, half of the time there only is one goal.
Yeah.
There only is, I want to look better, I want to feel better, or my parents died of heart disease and I just do not want that to happen to me, so I want to be fit and lean, as you go on. So perfect. I'd definitely agree with that.
Yep, cool. Yeah, that's some really good points to take away there, guys. Jack, tell us about your routine at the moment. What are you doing from you day to day, Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday? What's your day in isolation look like?
So at the moment, obviously the specifics of it depend on if I have sessions or not, but sort of the basic outline is I'm still getting up as the normal time I would, so up at 5, but now it's just nice to have a bit of time to, normally it would be eat food and then cycle in, whereas obviously now I'm not doing that. So now I've got a bit more time where I can sit down and I just do a bit of learning, to be honest, in that first hour or first hour and a half. Then I have management call with my business partners. We have that every morning. That's at 6:30, and then it depends. So today I had a client at 7, so I'd have that. If not, it's just then doing different work throughout the day, depending on what I have to do. And then I have a set lunchtime. So I even now we use a scheduling like diary system called Acuity. So it's like Google Calendar, whatever you want to use. But I even now I put in different things. So I'll have breakfast and learning, and I'll schedule it out and block it out. And then I put in my own training. So that's 2 till 3. That's blocked out every time. So I know that's happening then. Obviously I changed it today, but pretty much standard, that's blocked out. So I will block out what I'm doing and when. And I'm trying to keep it as the same as what it was previously. So my mornings are available for coaching, and then afternoon is like different business management stuff.
Yeah, that's good. So guys, again, if for anyone who's listening, what booking in, that's such a good tip there, guys, to actually book in and schedule the things that you're going to do, because it becomes much more real to you. If you have an alarm that goes off at 6 and the alarm says learning time, then you're much more likely to get up. What we're trying to get people to do is really stick to their, as close to as their routine as they can, so it's not a massive shock to the system when we all eventually will have to go back to work. We'll have to try and fit training in around what's inevitably going to be a busy time, because everyone's going to be chasing their tails trying to catch up with things. We want to stick to that routine as much as we can, and I think it's a really good idea to actually book in, even if it's lunch. I booked it into my diary. It's training. I booked it into my diary. Simon talked about this in our first edition, where how easy is it to just go, I could train now, but I've got 2 hours later, so I'll put it off to
100%.
then. It's so easy to do that. If it's in your diary, the likeliness that you're going to do it becomes much higher. So yeah, good point there. Good point there, Jack. Are you for watching the draft, Jack? Sorry, change the subject. Are you keeping your eye? Sorry, I just thought I'd just.
Yeah, it's still going ahead, isn't it? They're just doing it all online.
Virtually.
Yeah, that's just doing it. Everyone's going to be online, which it's going to be weird, but yeah.
So who's the Seahawks getting? Who's there?
I have no idea. I haven't looked up who's going to be I don't even know who they're thinking about is going to be the first pick. I have no idea actually.
Joe Burrow's the first pick. He's a quarterback.
Right. No, I haven't looked this year. I've been a bit out of it. I haven't looked that much, but I saw that they're going to do everything online, so that'd be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, Georgie's too busy running a business. All right.
Listen, you know what I mean? like with everything, we've already talked about this. I have allocated times when I do this, all right? So it's not like I'll get up, I'll just listen to NFL, which I do.
George, there was a period of time there for a couple of months where at any moment of silence, he was on YouTube just horsing as much NFL as possible. Even if it was a minute, he was on there just looking at something of NFL.
Yeah. There's usually some ridiculous play or some ridiculous hit from the week's games. So it comes up on my feed. It's I don't know, Bosa smashes quarterback, and I'll think I want to see that. So when I get a minute, I just quickly go and see it. And then there's one where it could say Odell Beckham catches a ball with his eyes closed. So I just go and watch.
Oh yeah, you gotta watch that. You gotta watch that. Yeah.
So it's these things, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the draft, and because I'm off, I'll probably stay up and watch it.
I bet you're wearing that hat as well.
Yeah,
I don't think Simon and I will, because we'll be sticking to our routine. But you do what you want.
Yeah, but
it's just good to stick to a routine, George. But it's fine.
I'll allocate a day off like I would anytime. So that would be my day's holiday.
Okay.
So
I'll keep tabs on this. I'll keep tab on it.
Yeah, but, I'm not quite as insufferable as I was within season when I was running around with the ball just all the time. So,
running around, Jack, running around in the gym, right? This is what I see, right? He pulls up to the gym in his car. He's an adult, all right? At least I think he is anyway. From his hairline, I can tell. But,
Benjamin.
So he gets out of the car, and then I'm like, oh, there's George. And then he opens his back door and then gets an American football out and then walks to the gym carrying his American football. And I'm like, well, what are you doing?
What do you do with that?
Yeah, he comes in the door and he starts going, ho, 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 free.
Yeah, but listen, you've got
everywhere.
I live and everything I'm into, I live and breathe. So.
Well, it's either that or it's cricket. There's a cricket shot that you do with cricket seasons on. Yeah. You run around just going, 4, 6.
Reverse sweep, my favourite shot.
You've probably never done a reverse sweep in your life.
I've never successfully done a reverse sweep.
Oh, there we go. How could it be your favourite shot that you've never done?
Because, it's a favourite shot that I watch other actually good cricketers do.
You're right, okay.
And obviously I retired too early. I thought I'd give everyone else a chance. That's what I thought. It was a bit too, it's getting a bit easy, all this sports stuff. So I thought, going to personal training, I'll teach instead. Yeah.
Oh, you're not good at that. I want to go on. I'm currently, people don't know, but I'm training one of Jack's clients now, just in the in-between stage now, as everybody's getting back to normal and so on. But Jack, man, you make some strong people.
Well, yeah, she's doing it. It's Anna, right? Yeah, she's doing
strong,
right.
Man. So strong.
Yeah.
Movements are good. Strength is solid. It's amazing, man.
It's the thing is, it takes patience. I've got loads of clients where their previous training, similar to Anna in a way, that it was predominantly classes. Think that sort of, you have to have burned 8 million calories for it to be worth it, and it's a session. And the thing is with that, as a coach, you just got to have patience. People will listen when they want to listen. And so as coaches, you just keep just feeding that information every now and then, just plugging away, and eventually you'll just get a snap. I've got a client that, for ages had done sort of high intensity training, like strength training. It was like, no, absolutely not. Now she's split squatting over 70 kilograms and loves it. And her home training, she didn't have any equipment. She was like, get me dumbbells, because I don't want to do any like body weight flapping around training, which is complete shift change.
Complete opposite.
But that took, God, it's been like 5-6 months to get to that point. It's a slow process, and it's not just like, oh, we do this now. And there's some people you get that like they're like robots. You tell them what to do and they go do it. But then there's some people that it takes a bit of time, and you just work on them slowly.
The programming, because like she did mention earlier she had PT before and so on, but it was just smash, get as much as you can in a session, can't walk for 3 days and carry on about your business. And she's never been as strong. No, and I know you're not trying to kill her. You're just progressively overloading, developing movement patterns. I even like the side note that you put on the program. You had box jumps, and then in brackets, ask me about these.
Oh yeah, loads of exclamation points. Just like this could go horribly. That's 2 sessions a week, 2 strength sessions a week, no more. And it's probably about a total in some sessions like 5 exercises. And that's all you need, just good quality movement. The box jumps, that's a bugbear of mine, how they're often programmed. But we just, like before like Corona and everything, we started to put in a bit of power work, just as a different layer, because she's got a really solid base of strength now. So that's when you can then add the other layer. That's all it is, just building on each, adding a layer. And I think sometimes even in sport, this comes back to people saying, oh, you have to have a block of strength, then you go into a block of power. And then even in sport, you can just train all of them at the same time. You can do some power work during your week. You can do a little bit of strength, but especially with general population, it's even easier to be able to manage. You don't have to do everything all at once. And
that's a really good. I mean, you kind of answered my next question, because with the box jumps coming up, I was going to ask how you would implement them, and you answered it already there, which is what we talked about earlier, which was to build the foundations first, get those movement patterns down and strong and able to do really, really well before we move on to things that are more powerful. I would also add, which gets done anyway, that if a joint isn't stable, doing a big power move like a box squat is just not going to be very good for it.
Box jump,
isn't going to be very is very good. It's going to heighten your chance of injury. And what do we see? We see it done rep after rep, set after set.
For cardio,
yeah, exactly right. And this is what we're trying to get at, is that the exercise isn't a bad one. It's just know what you're using it for and make sure the foundation is there. So I think
exactly.
Really good.
You can mess up any exercise. You can mess up an air squat, but it's all about context and where you're using it. And it's similar to now, really, that people will probably, I think the people that are probably laughing their heads off and are like this right now are probably physios and osteopaths and chiros, because either one, people are jumping around their living rooms too much and are going to mess themselves up, or they'll take no consideration into the fact they've not really trained similarly to what they were doing or have been for the last however many years or months, have this period where it drops down, and then they'll go back to their workout classes, which for the majority, I don't want to speak globally because that's not fair on all people that take classes, but majority, there will be no consideration of that. It will be a normal class written up on the board. There'll be everything that they were doing however long ago. And then they've not done anything to prepare themselves for that. And then they'll go back into their workout class where they have to do 1 million exercises for 1 million times the reps. And they're going to break down. It might not happen in the first week, might not happen in the second week, but probably eventually it will happen. Same with, I think Simon, you mentioned it last week, with people running who've never run in 20 years and now suddenly pounding pavements doing these 5Ks. And it's like, that's fine. Like we can run, but running's a skill and you have to practice it. Like obviously there's technique to it, but like there's no perfect technique. Like if you look at a textbook and then look at Usain Bolt sprinting out of the gates, his thighs over there. And if you look at a textbook, you're never going to see that, but he's the fastest man in the world. So I'm not going to say, oh, you have to have a perfect technique to run. You have to work what's optimal for you. But just no preparation or consideration for that. And I think that's where people should have, that's why I go back to my point earlier, have something that you work on now, which will benefit you once you're able to go back. Because if you go back and just try and do everything you were doing, you're just asking for trouble.
Even if you go and look at the air squat, I know you just mentioned that there. How many people can't air squat? How many people just can't get almost parallel? They sort of, and you see it in classes more than anything, where they do that race squat where they drive their hips back and forward. It's like an RDL deadlift sort of thing, and there's not really any movement. There's no ankle movement at all. There's no knee drive at all. People are doing stuff they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
And for high volume, and for a high volume.
There's tons of repetitions in that bad position. It's just the same as running. You're in a bad position, you get knee pain, but people strap on a knee strap and be like, "Oh, I'm fine now," and then you carry on running. It's like, what? No.
You get that, and even in a class environment where somebody eventually over time gets an injury, and they're like, "Oh no, I think I probably just, I didn't stretch yesterday, or, I think I tried too hard in that exercise."
I'll take 2 days off and do nothing, and then I'll be all right. And then the pain goes away, and then straight back in. But that's the whole point of education, I think. That's why things like this are good, because you're able to get your message across that, there's no way that 5 classes or even 8 classes a week where people double up or triple up on the same day and do some HIIT class, then a cycling class all in one day, and they smash themselves just because the calorie numbers.
Calories seem to be the driver. I'm gonna have to pop off here, guys. You just carry on. Great chatting to you, Jack, as well.
No worries.
I'll catch you hopefully next week again.
We'll be on next week. Jack, you want to come on next week? Are you free next week, same time?
I can definitely do that. I can do that.
So we'll have Jack on again next week. We'll wave bye to Simon. Before you go, thanks so much for the 5K nomination. 5K.
I saw that.
I ran this morning, boys. I had somebody nominated me, and I haven't run. The most I've ran is from the car to the house, and then I was like, surely I can do it. And the worst thing about it is that my watch was clocking in kilometers, and in the brief moment I thought it was miles. So I was like, all right, 3.1 miles. So I got halfway up the house, and then it's 3.1 miles. And I was like, oh, sound, I'll stop. Look down, 3.1 kilometer, and then I had to gear myself back up again. And so I'd ran past my house, had to do a loop around, come again, still wasn't 5K, run past my house again, turned around, and then got in. Was like, never again, boys.
I'm gonna have to figure out what that is. But Simon, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers, Simon.
See you next week, my friend. Jack, we'll probably wrap it up here as well.
Yes, no worries.
Ask you what I needed to ask. Thanks for coming on. And we'll have you on next week.
Sounds great.
For everyone, like I said, if you want to follow Jack Coxall on Instagram, and is it Soho?
So Fitness Lab on Instagram.
Fitness Lab as well.
So Fitness Lab,
Like all of us, like Simon and myself, Jack's been giving out tips and advice for everyone, and as you've probably noticed from this podcast, that's all sound really solid advice, even though he spent a majority of the podcast mocking me with Simon. I
don't see how it was going to go any other way.
So Jack, tell me this: if the NFL came back normal September, October games are coming in, would you go to one with the whole coronavirus? Just passed. Let's say it just passed it in July. We got the all clear to go out. Games come in October. Would you risk it?
Would I go? Yeah. Personally, I would. Yeah. I think if as long as it's all within the rules and all the experts have said, it's all good, we can do this sort of thing now. Yeah. Personally, I would go.
Yeah.
Because I think even though there's still maybe the risk, but in terms of me as a person, I know I'm less at risk than majority of what seemed to be suffering from it. But if it was given all clear and the events were happening,
Yeah, I forgot to ask you actually, just before we go.
Crack on.
We talked about your routine, which mirrors ours a little bit. We're all up fairly early, doing the things that we need to do. But what about your training yourself? You said you're training, but what have your goals shifted? Because you talked about the shift change with your clients. What about yourself?
So the main focus is, honestly, my main goal is to keep it fun for myself, because that can be one of the hardest things anyway. So I'm just experimenting with things at the moment and being able to be like, oh, this works. And then I'm personally thinking, oh, who will this work in my client base? Who will this work for? Luckily, I was able to raid the gym before we all got locked down. So I grabbed as many dumbbells and pieces of equipment as I could. So yeah, at the moment, I'm just keeping it fun. And I'm kind of keeping to the same split I was having before. Obviously we're all locked down, so sort of an upper lower split, just because that works the easiest for me and is able to the one I was able to manage most of work before. So I've stuck to that. But then just mixing up the exercises. I'm just doing sort of mini 2-week phases at the moment, just to keep variety high. And yeah, like I said, trying different things out.
Yeah, I'm doing. I've gone back into kind of trying to build as much muscle as I can. I was trying to get lean before the shutdown. But I figured I got a lot of time, and I can double up on muscle groups. Kind of not. You know how often you have to have one if you're trying to build muscle. You have to hit a certain quota of sets each week. Whereas actually, what I can do is I can double up on a muscle group, just over half the amount of volume in one session, for example. But add a third overall, basically, so I'm getting more volume in a particular muscle group, and I'm enjoying it. Really, it's like you said, and like you, actually, I've done a couple of things where I've had to think outside of the box a little bit, programming wise. That I've also thought, actually, this would work really well when I take it back into the gym. This is something that people will really benefit from, because it's
100%.
It's forced to be controlled because we haven't got the equipment, and a lot of the time with my clients, I'm focusing on A, movement, and B, feeling the tension in their muscles.
The actual muscle. Yeah, exactly. I've found that I've just like with different like superset versions. So one, like a coach showed us, actually one of our coaches showed us a while ago, just sort of, a simple superset between an isometric hold and then going into as many reps as possible, and it almost replicates that sort of occlusion effect. So with things like that, and I've actually subconsciously kind of used it with clients in the past, but just to get them to feel the certain muscle that I want them to feel working. I feel the best I've found that it works with is like with your lat. So on something like a single arm row, when their arms out below them, just before they go into their row, get them to do almost like a straight arm pull down action, but I stop their arm and they're like, do you feel all this down here? Then they go into the row and they're like, oh yeah, I feel that. Whereas before it was all up here because they were rowing wrong.
That's
so
a really
things like that.
Really good tip. It's because how hard is it? How hard do people find it to activate their back muscles, their lat muscles?
I mean, you could do a row and like obviously everyone feels their arms, and then you're like, well, I can feel my back kind of squeezing together, but normally it's all up here in the upper trap and not in the actual lat where you're supposed to feel it down here. So yeah, something like that I found works, and just incorporating it into sessions where you still get a good session from it.
Yeah, man. I've been sore from my sessions because they're different.
And I was going to say, how, in terms of the load you're able to put on each exercise, how are you managing? So I can't imagine you have.
Well, Sally's
how
brother.
Have you sort of hitting that target?
Well, Sally's brother has given me a certain amount of weight because he's got a gym in his house, and he's half the equipment he doesn't use, so he let me borrow it through the isolation.
Nice.
So I've got some, but it's still very limited. So I'll give you an example, and I'll use the back again as an example. I'll get a band and I'll attach it to the chin-up rig that I've got, and I'll grab and drive my lats down, hold and squeeze. There's not a great deal of tension on the band. It's quite a light band, and for the life of me, I can't order any because they're all out of stock. They've gone mental. But I'll hold and I'll squeeze and I'll hold and I'll squeeze maybe 5 to 10 reps, and then I'll go to a barbell bent over row. And so like exactly kind of what you're talking about is I find the muscle, I squeeze the muscle, I put some blood into it so it's active, and then I get onto a bigger move and row that way, because I haven't got the machine. So I either have to do a barbell row. The dumbbells I have are far too light to get the right level of stimulation out of the row with the dumbbell. So I haven't got like an in between, So I
but you can still, like you said, you're feeling sore probably because it's, even though train hard previously. Just now the stimulus has changed.
Yeah.
So you can be like, I think that's a misconception as well, in that you shouldn't be like, you shouldn't, the whole goal of your session shouldn't be to be sore.
Yeah.
That's not an indicator of a good session. But like, if I went and ran 10K, I would be sore and stiff as hell after that run, just because it's a completely different stimulus to what I'm used to.
Yeah.
So even now you can still, even though I said earlier, you can change your target slightly, you can still hit, like you said, muscle building targets, but without tons of weight. You just have to hit different parameters that create the stimulus in order for you to build muscle. So yeah, 100%.
I mean, like everyone, I often get fixated on the load. As you probably remember from when we used to work together, we used to have I want to hit this target. Now, okay, I you know, if I program it right, I get to that target. But the issue becomes is, did I forget about the movement? And although I think I didn't at the time, what stuff like this is showing me that maybe I did. Maybe I did a little bit. Maybe I focused on the number so much that the movement became of secondary importance. So it's actually quite refreshing. And I suppose that's the message that we're trying to give out, is, which has kind of been the theme of this podcast, was just to, with what we've got available, work with what you can, and start to focus on how you're moving and what muscles are doing the movement. So you build a good foundation for when we get back into the gym. So I think that's a really good message for everyone to leave with today. Thanks, Jack.
Oh, pleasure, George.
Yeah, I didn't. So we'll have you on next week if you're willing. And I think
more than happy.
Someone else needs to think about the theme this time.
The theme behind it. All right. We'll let Simon do it, because he was really prepared for today. So
yeah, I know. He was, wasn't he, with his fires of Mordor? But I feel like mine was excellent. Just. What do you think?
To be honest, the way your forehead gleams, it's like you're actually in there and you've got the floodlights on your head. So
I thought about all these things before I.
It's good. It's good.
I didn't think about it. Guys, everyone who's watching, hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week, 2:15-ish. 2:15 professionalism, 2:15 Tuesday next week. So enjoy your week. Stay safe. Stay indoors. Don't break the rules. Okay. And hope you enjoyed it. Bye, Jack.
See you later, man. See you next week.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Thank you, Jack.